Today's episode is 179, and I am with the most infamous Nick Morales. He didn't know I was going to say this. He is one of our video production editing people that has been working here as an intern. He's done a really good job. So a little round of applause. Yay. Okay. Welcome to the Intern Whisperer. Our show is all about the future of work and innovation. And so today's Intern Whisperer tip of the week is if you're not going to be able to hire your interns, make sure that you keep in touch with them. Remember that you're establishing a relationship with people. This is another person, and mentoring goes both ways. I know that I've learned a lot from Nick and Alex and Becca, and I am so grateful to have worked with each one of you. I hope the feeling's the same, but I'm not asking for that. So keep in touch with these people. Everybody has value to bring to relationships. And you never know, they could be your next hire. They could send you a customer, or they can help you solve a problem. Today's guest is Nick Morales. Nick, so tell us about yourself. 5 words. Oops.
5 words. I would like to say I'm musical minded. Well, that's not really one word, but like a musician, creative, leader. Another one that's not really one word, but continuous learner. I think, how much was that, 4 or 5?
You're on 3.
Oh, 3. So what was it?
Musician,
enthusiastic. Yes, enthusiastic, learner.
And lead, you said leader, but creative.
Yes, creative.
Okay, so let's go back over these words. Creative. How do you think that you're creative? What is it that you do that you think means, oh, I am so creative? Because I think I'm creative.
Mm-hmm. So when it comes to like hobbies and careers per se, I like to say creative because I never, when I grew up, I never seen myself like I guess in America you call it a traditional as a work to be like, I don't know, maybe like a doctor or retail salesperson. But I had more like a creative mindset in terms of music, or it could be like a movie director or maybe an athlete because I did play sports growing up. So anywhere in that creative mindset, I just had like something for it. So
I think that's pretty good. All right. And I've seen you show a lot of creativity in the things that you've done during your internship, because I know we've had problems and we've had to be able to find some really good solutions when, we had one show, I don't know if it was yours, I think it was Alex's, where there was music playing in the background and we couldn't, not music, it was a conversation. It was here in the studio. Anyway, I couldn't hear it when I was recording. I think it was your show, right? Marianne's?
Yeah, it was the one that was canceled, I believe, right?
Yeah, because we couldn't separate it. So I was telling Q, the station manager here, about that problem just today. And he said, there is a way that you can actually separate if you have that background, whatever that other video is that's playing in the background. But he said we would have to have the original file. And then when you have that, you can take it and you can fade it out so that you wouldn't even be able to hear it at all. And I thought, well, that was a really good solution. Too bad if we still had that file. I was going, man, I'd love to go back and fix that. But I don't know where the original, overlapping music is the problem. Conversation. It was like students that were using the studio here. And when I clicked on a link, apparently it started recording in the background, but I couldn't hear it when I was recording. It only showed up later. Anyway, the whole thing is about you being creative, and you've been able to bring some creative solutions to some of the editing process that we've had. And you're just going to continue to do that, is what I think. More than just that. Musical. Okay. So you don't play an instrument, but you're musically inclined. So why is that? What's your interest?
So I grew up listening to a lot of music on my mom's side. She listened to more like pop and rock. She was more like Linkin Park, 3 Days Grace, Paramore. Those mid 2000s rock, alternative rock, whatever you want to call it. But I listened to that as a kid, and then of course pop came along. I started looking at new genres like pop, like Timbaland, Pharrell Williams, like the Neptunes and stuff like that. And then it just shifted to like hip hop and house. I like house music as well. And then what's interesting is that I listen to all these music, but sometimes I don't really like the artists, like the vocals, but I do like their instrumentals. So I'm just like, I want to know how to make that instrument, like recreate the instrument. So I go on YouTube because we're in the internet age now, and tutorials pop up. It shows how to recreate this maybe Pharrell beat that he made, and it shows like a step by step, and it shows like a DAW. If you don't know what a DAW is, it's called DAW for short. It's a digital audio workstation, and I'm sure at Valencia they have it too, like Pro Tools, Logic, FL Studio. But I use FL Studio because that's what everyone was using, especially today. So I was like, this looks cool. I want to learn how to use FL Studio. So I got the trial because the full version was expensive. So I had to wait until my, I think, 18th birthday. My parents got me FL Studio, and I started like making full like tracks and stuff. And that's how I became interested in music. So I would say like musically inclined, but not musician
Well, you like
exact.
the music industry, is what it
Yeah.
sounds like.
Yeah.
You really like that. And because music has been such a large part of your life, it looks like you're merging those two things that you do like, which is video and also music. So that's huge. That's pretty cool. Who's your favorite group now?
To be honest, I don't know. When it comes to producers or
whatever band, whatever, solo, not sure. What do you listen to?
mostly hip hop, R&B, pop, yeah, maybe depends, but mostly hip hop.
Do you speak Spanish?
Actually, no.
Oh.
Very disappointing. I always get the, do you speak Spanish? And I was like, no.
But do you like Spanish influenced music, Latin music?
Yeah. I like bachata.
Yeah.
Dominican, yeah.
Yeah, that one's really, really good too. I like okay, I'm just going to go and give this shameless plug for something else that's totally unrelated. But because you mentioned bachata, there is a place in Kissimmee and in Orlando where people can go and learn how to dance salsa and bachata. So I had gone there, and you don't have to have a partner. You can just show up. And then they keep you in groups, and every 3 minutes you move to a new person. So they put all of the women together, and then they have all the men, and then you line up, and then 3 minutes, boom, you go to the next person, and you just keep practicing the steps. Super good. They always have something called it's a big party at the end of, I think it's I want to say it's a month, but I don't think so. It might even be every 3 months, but it's a big giant party, and everybody gets together, and it's a competition to see who can dance the best. So there's that. You might enjoy it because it has lots of Latin music, which I think rhythm and blues, has influenced, or maybe it was Latin that influenced rhythm and blues. I'm not sure, but there's definitely some synergy between those two genres. That's what I think. Okay, so your next word, continuous learner. Okay,
so yes.
Examples.
So continuous learner. Example, this internship in this job industry, because I chose continuous because what I'm pursuing is video editing, and I guess you could say music as well, music producing. And obviously this is technology, and different things can happen to like a DAW, or maybe there might be a new form of like editing or styles of editing that's going to become popular or trend in the future. For example, maybe like motion graphics. There's a huge demand for motion graphic
artists. Oh my God,
and
it's going to be so much even more by 2030.
Yeah.
It's going to be like second nature.
And you got to learn like that, how to use it, like the system or the software, like After Effects and stuff. Maybe like if you want to do 3D modeling too, like Maya and Unity and all that stuff is endless amounts of things.
More so by 2030, there's a lot of speculation, and it's not even speculation. I think it's actually happening, where people will pay money to go watch fake people, robots, do a concert or play a sport. And I go, I wouldn't want to go and watch robots play basketball. Like, maybe, but how entertaining is that? Part of it is to me about being able to identify with another human that's out on the floor. And it would be the same with music. I had heard this past weekend also that they have in Purdue University, they were able to replicate robots having the ability to replicate themselves, not replicate, to procreate. So they're not having sexual relations, but they're able to have taken frogs that have robotic gene or robotic, what would be the word that I needed to do a better job on this one if I was going to talk about it, but it had robotic tendencies, and the frogs are able to replicate themselves just like, like in I don't know what to call it, in relationships, I guess. So it was very interesting. And I think that's what's going to end up happening is that when we get into the future, the ability to feel like you're listening to the concert is going to be augmented reality, virtual reality. Obviously, you'll feel like you'll be there. Holograms, boom, you're right there. So go ahead.
Yeah, that reminded me the holograms. I was thinking about that word when you're talking about it because I was going to mention of stuff like artists that passed away, like for example, like Coachella, Tupac, or Michael Jackson. They had hologram performances with like exactly looking like them, and they're just like with the what's it called, the projector, just them walking around on stage, Michael Jackson dancing and stuff. So I can see that in the future.
Yep. Okay, so when we get to this place of continuous learning, do you have any particular thoughts? You're going to always have to be on top of it. Obviously, do you think that you're going to do like boot camps or just stay on top of whatever's trending in the market, or you're going to be like always going to school or doing online school? Because I think honestly, higher ed, I think that schools are going to be going away for a large part, and it'll be just for those that have the money to spend to go to schools, because everybody will do everything online.
Yeah. Personally, because like I said, like early, Google and YouTube, that's where I learned a lot of my music production stuff and some video editing stuff. There's some good teachers on out there on YouTube that helps me like edit stuff, tips and tricks, especially for the podcast. So
So what do you think about podcasting? Because I know that wasn't where you were originally thinking, but podcasting is a huge industry, and it's going to be a way that people can get in and do obviously video and editing. And there's podcasts that are all about music too. So you could choose that. If you're going to go and do video work, you can work in the podcast music industry and still be able to make a really good living, I think. I don't know if you thought about that.
Actually, I didn't. It's a podcast for music.
Okay, well, I am glad to have planted that seed. So your next word, enthusiastic, this would be your best word. You inspire me. This is my biggest takeaway from working with you, is that you are so enthusiastic. I really, really have enjoyed that particular quality about you, because no matter what's going on, you're just sitting there going, oh, it's going to be okay. And I went, man, I need to think more like, in this case, Nick. So enthusiastic. Why did you pick that word?
I guess that's just me. There's no other way to explain it. But every time I talk to someone or meet someone, they're like, you're very positive about things. At my job, my one of my supervisors, he had surgery, gallbladder surgery, and he was sad. He didn't really feel like doing anything. I told him it's gonna be okay. You're gonna be off the anesthesia anyway and stuff like that. So when you wake up, it'll be all over. He was like, "Thank you for the words." So, but I don't know. It's just me and my personality.
Is your whole family real positive also?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Oh, so it's one of those environmental things in this instance. When you're surrounded by positive people, it only can mean that you'll be positive for sure. So that's good. Okay, leader. So you have this other side job that you do. It's a part-time job. You'll have to kind of back it up and tell our listeners what it is that you're doing.
So yes, it's resort security for a resort. I'm just a regular security professional or officer, security guard, whatever. There's so many titles for it, but security professional. I just recently became I wouldn't say like supervisor, but I have to be supervisor
A
because
lead? Are you
yeah,
considered a lead?
or a lead. Yeah, I'm a lead.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I
All
just lost
right.
train of thought.
So what is it that a security officer has to do? Because where you live, I don't know. It's a distance. I know you have to drive quite a distance to get there. But what does a security officer have to do? And
so
I've got another question for you about how video relates to security.
So, on my particular site, because there's different types of security. You can be at a guardhouse, you can be hospital security, a bouncer. I guess they would be considered security as well, or event staff. But
Okay.
for resort, um, what we do mainly is we obviously patrol the property, make sure there's no vandalism, anyone hanging out, fights, any paraphernalia type of stuff going on. Um, and then we do like internal stuff, like if people gets locked out or they lose their keys and stuff, we have to verify the guests to make sure they're on the unit because there's instances where they would just break in the unit. People will try to pretend that they're in the unit and they go in, they take stuff and steal. Um, we open safes. That's a big one because we don't want a guest trying to open a safe and there could be money that's not theirs and stuff. Yeah. So when I first actually, this one came in my mind right now. When I first, I was like a kid. I was on the internet as a kid. Like I was always on the computer playing Xbox. I wanted to be like a professional competitive gamer.
Ooh,
Doing like Twitch streams and YouTube, streaming myself play games on a League of Legends, Call of Duty,
yeah. Were
whatever.
you any good?
League of Legends, no. League of Legends just has an interesting community, especially when you first start and you suck. So, but Call of Duty, I'm pretty good at Call of Duty. I still play Call of Duty to this day.
Oh, cool. So you would have had to have gotten a sponsor, I would think, right?
Yeah, sponsorships, ads, monetization. You can
Yeah,
make money like that.
I
Um, but
know.
but after that, it was more like content creation, and then eventually, music production, and it made me realize, like, I'm doing all these things. I could become like an entrepreneur per se, making all these businesses and brands. So it's kind of like that creative field slash entrepreneur field.
I would tell you that I don't think one of the things I think that you should be really, really careful of is don't start them all at the same time like me, because that is just for somebody that is not really organized. And I thought I was super organized, and I still think I am, but I can see where I can always do better. But this is not for the faint of heart. So make sure you keep that day job, whatever that is, as you start a business, and then you can go and, build it up. And when that business is making as much money as you get paid in your day job, that's when you go and quit. You don't quit
Yes.
otherwise.
Yeah.
Nope, not at all. Anyway, but I can see you doing it. And I think that you can actually find what you're looking for if you consolidate all of those interests together. So what you learned here was, editing on podcasts, but you're also creating some ads that we're going to have going out for Cat 5 Studios, and it'll be like promotional ads for the event that I was just at last week, the ITSEC conference. And then we also have some game video that you were going to turn into an ad, and you're still coordinating with Ralph. I'm going to hold you to that one. I know that this is like the end of your internship, but I still want you to finish that one up because I think it's going to benefit you, honestly. But you'll like Ralph, and I want you to get to know Ralph also because he actually can help you, find a job. And same for Alex too. So you guys should be racing to Ralph because I know they're hiring also. The next question here. So your educational background, did you only go to Valencia or did you go somewhere else to school too?
In terms of colleges, only just Valencia. I
So
started.
you're over here at Valencia East campus, right?
Yeah, well, in the beginning, I started at Valencia Osceola, obviously for the rigorous courses, the basics, and then after that, maybe 2019, I started going to East Campus.
Yeah. Well, the
Oh,
first
downtown
semester,
campus.
you were at the downtown one?
Yeah, for spring semester, that's when I went to. It's crazy. I actually like the campus; it looked nice, but they were still under construction in certain parts. But that's when COVID hit, so everything went online. I couldn't go back to class anymore.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The downtown Orlando campus is really, it's like, ooh, it's super, super fancy down there. But the thing with Valencia College is many people don't know this. It is the fifth largest community college in the country with over 65,000 students that attend at multiple campuses throughout Central Florida, which encompasses Osceola, Orange counties. I don't know if there's another county that maybe I've forgotten, but they have so many different career paths. So I'm giving another little promotion for Valencia there. But really great school. I love getting the opportunity to be with all of the Valencia students and be in this really cool radio studio also. So I
Yes.
think you chose well. Yeah.
Yes, I did.
So you chose, what's the name of your major?
Digital media technology.
And how is that defined at this school here? You said some of it is animation or motion graphics.
So for digital media technology, this program, they make you go over like basically like the groundworks of like every single thing relating to like arts and stuff. So it could be graphic designing, motion graphics, actual video production, so like the grip or like how to use a camera.
Equipment.
Yeah, equipment. Post production, which is editing, which I'm in, and audio editing as well. So
That's quite a bit. And so you, in the first year of school, you get all of your general education classes out of the way, and then you get to be in the specialized courses.
yes,
Very
that's
nice.
how it works.
All right. Well, so now you're thinking you want to go into music, and that's where we were originally talking. So you can pick a music industry. I bet you would like the sports industry just as much, and be able to have that video, that love of video, and we'll say motion graphics because you're going to pick that one up also, and then be able to turn that into ads. And that's one of the things that you've been working on here, as well as you can go into the podcast industry. And there's another guy that has, I don't know if you listen to his show, another Nick that, we had as a guest on our show in season 2, I think it was. And he has sports. It's like Sports with Nick Rodriguez.
Yeah, Nick Rodriguez.
Yeah. So that would be a really good connection for you also, because you both share the first name, but there's a love of sports. And I think that you should connect with some of our podcast guests. You never know. All right. So let me see. Most influential person in your life and why? You have 2.
Yes. I was saying my parents, my mom and my stepdad, because the creative industry is very hard, compared to like other ones, just because it's not like you're with a company. Well, you could be, but most of this stuff is like startups by yourself, and you have to get your name out there and your brand and put in the work to get where you're at. So I didn't had I was pretty much set on what I wanted to do, and it was like in the creative field, but I didn't had any like help and some certain stuff resources I didn't have, but my parents were there. They supported me and they helped me get where I'm at today.
Very nice. Do you want to give a little shout out to your parents by name or
Shout
not?
out, well, my mom, her
Then
full
don't
name,
do
but
it.
shout out
Your mom to get mad.
shout out Jason and shout out my mom.
Okay. Yeah. Does your mom listen to the show?
No, she's actually, however, she is enrolling. She was in Valencia, but now she's in UCF through Direct Connect to become a teacher herself because she wants to get out medical field. Yeah.
Yeah. So. Super cool. Well, I hope that your mom listens to this particular show because you're her son and, she'll want to be able to hear what you had to say.
Yes.
Hopefully. Okay, so why have they been so influential? I mean, I know that they supported your career, but is there anything else?
Oh, they've always been there. There was always like emotional support whenever when I'm not feeling good. They always make sure I'm there, back up on my feet.
Mhm.
Just the little things like the little parenting things that they do.
Yeah,
So
I know that you have a little brother, and you mentioned that you also, I guess we'll say babysit, but you never know the influence that you can have on somebody else's life. And so your little brother, he's probably over here thinking like you're super cool. And, you have that as another aspect of what it's like to be a parent. So I think you probably have
yeah.
deeper appreciation for your parents because of that.
Yeah, right now he's enrolled in a STEM school, and he sees me like editing stuff, and he's like, I want to do that. I want to become a YouTuber."
Oh,
So
really? That's
yeah,
cool. That's cool. Does
so
he know how to do anything? Have you showed him how to do anything yet with video editing or to
uh,
take video?
to take videos, yeah, I try to. What's crazy? I don't even have to teach him because he looks at it himself. That's the crazy thing about internet. He goes on YouTube. He knows how to use OBS. He said he goes up to me when I'm playing Call of Duty. He's like, "Can you help me make a video?" He's like, "What video are you talking about?" He's like, "I've been playing Roblox, but I don't know how to stream on OBS." And I was like, "How do you know what OBS is?" He said, "I looked it up on YouTube."
That's
So
crazy. Yeah, and you can
yeah,
download OBS for free. So he's like
uh-huh.
ahead of the game. And look at it. He's like 9,
7.
7, even
Yes.
more so. 7 years old, and he's already doing this. So think of how much of a lead that he's had. He's had 7 years ahead of schedule of you when I don't know how old you were when you were getting into video, but were you 7?
No,
No.
14.
Yeah. So he's already going to have like some serious traction there. Oh my goodness. Yeah. That's crazy there. Does life exist on other planets? I know I skipped a question. Let me go back. What are you most proud of?
What am I most proud of? Um, I'll say graduating. Graduating college because I'm about to end school this month.
Mhm.
What's interesting? I don't know when I actually graduate though. Like going to stage. I don't know if that's for this month or I wait until like May.
You're going to wait till next year. I can answer that question. They do it in
Uh,
May. They only do one ceremony, and you'll do it in May of next year. So even though you'll be finished with all of the courses, you do need to sign up. I can answer a lot of these questions. You do need to submit an application that you want to go on the stage and do the walk, so to speak, so that they get the diploma and all of that. And you will
yeah,
need to make sure that you order your cap and gown, and I think that's about it. But you do have to submit paperwork for it. So make sure you do that when you go back to talk with Carrie, because Carrie can help you with that. Carrie Fleming. We're going to give Carrie Fleming a little shout out because she's the one that is in career services over here at the East Campus. And she carries a lot of weight on her shoulders. She has to help make sure everybody is moving along and getting their internships and getting ready to graduate. So, a little shout out to Carrie. Yep.
shout out Carrie.
Yeah. Okay. Planets, life on other planets. What's your answer? Defend.
Yes, I think there is life in other planets.
Okay. Why do you think that?
Uh,
You mean like
well,
humans, like us, or aliens, or what?
uh, so I've been watching documentaries about like extraterrestrial life on other planets. I wouldn't say maybe there could be possible, I guess, like humanoid figures like us, but I do believe in stuff like maybe plant life and like bacterias and stuff like that.
What are the documentaries you're watching? Is it on Netflix or Hulu or where?
I believe YouTube and maybe Hulu and HBO.
I don't have HBO, but I'll look for it on Hulu. I'll see what's out there. Is there one that you can recommend that I might watch or our listeners might watch?
Oh, in Discovery, but I forgot the titles of them. I just know where
Discovery Channel.
streaming services. Yeah.
Yeah, Discovery. I do have Discovery Channel.
Uh,
Oh, I don't even watch that one. Okay, I'm going to go and watch it now.
all I remember is the narration was a British person, a British guy.
Oh,
That's all I remember.
cool. Well,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just by virtue of the accent, they really add it, make it
Could
so
be,
much more educational, right?
yeah, maybe Pierce Morgan, but I don't know.
I don't think he's British.
He's not
Pierce Morgan? Wait, who?
Pierce Morgan. He
Okay, I
does
don't know who that is then.
yeah, I was watching like crime documentaries yesterday. So
Yeah. Oh, I'm confusing Pierce Brosnan, who's an actor, was a 007, with a different one too, like totally two different people. Okay, well, I'll go and look these up. Kevin Miller. So when we talked about, I asked you guys to all pick 4 episodes, 4 particular people that you really found interesting. You picked Kevin Miller as one of your 4. Why did you pick Kevin? What was so interesting about Kevin? Because you do need to kind of let our listeners know what we're talking about. Kevin is in the virtual reality industry, and specifically in the healthcare aspect of it, the healthcare industry, where it was being able to replicate doing surgery in a controlled setting so that what I loved is like the hands, just the hands floating in the air. If you were able to watch it on video, it was really cool because you don't see anybody, you just see hands in a glove and they're doing the surgery. So funny. What did you think was interesting?
So, not only think that I think it's interesting, but I think it's an important episode to watch, especially in times like coronavirus, and in case to prevent another like a pandemic or epidemic or something. God knows what in the future happens. We have and we're separate. I think it's good to have that virtual reality aspect and augmented help, like the AI assistants. I believe you mentioned in the episode. To help you get patients in booked and checked on. I think that's why it was important because we don't know when there's going to be another like stuff like a COVID happens.
No, a lot of the courses that they offered were in surgery. Those were the ones that I remember seeing, and it was, to me, one of the ways that certainly people working from home, to your point, they could be practicing in a safe setting where they wouldn't have to worry about being in a classroom setting. I don't think anything beats doing some practice surgery on a cadaver, working with a real human subject. It's not quite the same as doing it on video or in virtual reality, which is a simulated video, replication of it. But I can see huge value in starting there and then moving to cadavers and then going to humans, because I would want to know that somebody has practiced that incision very carefully so that they'll know that, oh my God, they just hit a vein and there's blood spurting everywhere. That could be scary. And they can make those learning applications very realistic. At the ITSEC conference that I was just at last week, there was all types of virtual reality going on, and also simulated and augmented reality, virtual reality, simulations, and they had mannequins, humans, and they also had like a dog that could sniff out, bombs. And they looked real. Like they're breathing. You can see the chest of either the animal or the mannequin, the human mannequin, moving. They can talk. They can make noises. They can do all kinds of stuff. And that's what was super crazy about it. What Kevin's company that he works with does is they make that experience feel very real. And I think that's like very, very interesting.
Yes, I agree.
So you picked David Washington as one of your other people that you wanted to focus on. Why David Washington?
Well, he talked about a story that made him interested in politics. And me personally, I was never interested in politics until maybe like 2016, the 2016 election with
Is that Donald, when you got to vote?
20. No, I was 16.
Oh, okay.
Wait, that's when Trump got elected, right? 45.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was 16, so I couldn't. Anyway, okay. But but it was just from like maybe like a media perspective on how I see things, because I never seen someone get slandered. Because to be honest, when I heard of Trump, I was thinking about like my kid, like he was in WWE fighting Vince McMahon and The Apprentice and stuff, and I guess he seemed like a well liked guy back then. But so I was interested when he became, I was interested in politics, like what's the deal with this guy, and all the stuff that was going, like it was crazy. So, and I think he has David Washington has an interesting story in how he got into politics.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I really like talking with David because he'll work with either a Democratic or Republican candidates. One of the things that's interesting is that it's better, I think, if you have that same political leaning towards one of those sides or undecided, whatever. When they go in there, these political consultants, they are working with them. They have to believe, just like an attorney would in many ways, that what the values are, the points that they're wanting to defend, whatever their agenda is as to what they say they will do while they are in office, that's all really significant. And they have to do quite a bit of background checks on these candidates to make sure that they don't have something that's going to show up later and be an issue, such as they get arrested for something, right? You don't want to have that as a surprise. So in many ways, I think politics run a similar path, a parallel path, going the route of the legal realm, because politics are built around passing bills and things that are about laws and regulations. So it does make sense that people should have a pretty good understanding of law, of what it takes to keep a government economically sound and being able to defend the borders. There's a lot of variables there. Police, economy, protection, being able to, get everybody all on the same page, communication. It's a hard job. Mm-hmm. I appreciate that about him. All right. So we're going to take a real quick break here for Cat 5 Studios to talk about our sponsor.
The Intern Whisperer is brought to you by Cat 5 Studios, who help you create games and videos for your training and marketing needs that are out of this world. Visit Cat 5 Studios for more information to learn how Cat 5 Studios can help your business. Thank you, Cat 5 Studios.
All right, so we're back to our show. This part of the show is all about the future of jobs and industries, but we're going to talk about 2 more episodes. So, Nick, you mentioned Joseph Simmons. Why Joseph Simmons?
Joseph Simmons. I believe he was in a kind of similar field with David, right?
Well, he's an entrepreneur. Now, you picked him, so you need to know who he is. But he started a business, and it was about helping entrepreneurs be able to find their passion and be able to see if their passion, their idea would have legs under it, and if they could actually make money on this. So he started his own academy that was focused on that. And he had worked with really big companies like Johnson & Johnson and some other really global enterprise companies and learned quite a bit. What I found interesting about him is he talked about how he had grown up in the mountains of Virginia, and he was from a very poor family. And then he became somebody that put himself through school and is now a really very, very successful business person.
He's a joyous person too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah. I was gonna say I'm gonna cut this out, but yeah, I had that exactly what you said on my show notes. But I kind of got because you said it was interesting because I was gonna try to tie something in like cool. I was gonna say
whatever you
yeah. I was gonna say I found Joseph Simmons' episode interesting because the company that we're in, E4C, is based on diversity, equity, and inclusion. Mm-hmm. And he brought up statistics about, the country is having like a racial change by 2045. I was looking at that too. If you go on Pew, I believe, or it's called PEW.
Yeah,
research.
It's Pew Foundation, the Pew Trust. It's a family that has huge amounts of money, and they put all kinds of research out there in the fields that you're describing. Social justice as well as education and the future, all kinds of great stuff. Mm-hmm. really glad that you're mentioning that.
Yes. I used them because I was interested in like demography and demographics and stuff like that. And not only that's going to be very racially diverse, but it's going to be very racially mixed. Like, we're going to have a lot more biracial people, mixed people like myself. So,
have you seen that new Facebook metaverse video where there's the 4 kids? And I sat there and I went, they don't look like any one particular race. They all look like they're a blend. I'm going, they could be Asian, they could be Hispanic, they could be Caucasian, they could be Black. I mean, they all look the same. You don't see diversity as much as you see it all blended together.
Yes.
Yeah. So when you're saying biracial, that was the first thing that came into my head is that commercial.
The metaverse.
Yeah. That's a crazy one. All right. And you also picked our Thanksgiving gratitude episode. Why that one?
So this one was more not only learning the history of Thanksgiving, but having more like creative time to try to do stuff with the episode from what we usually do on our podcast.
Yeah, because there was no guest. It was just me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you had to be super creative with that one. What did you do for that episode? Now, this is not something that people can see unless they're watching the video side of it. So you had to work extra hard on the creativity when it came to the video side of it, of however that was handled, and I'll let you explain it. But on the audio side, I wish we had Matt Miller back and we could have done some special cool sound effects.
Yes.
Okay, so what did you do?
So I tried to find like a nice background image for when the speakers, because we had speakers talking the interview by Becca. So I put like different like images. Originally, it was supposed to be like background music, but there was some audio issues with that as well. I was thinking about sound effects, but we were on a really tight schedule, so I didn't have time to like revise and add some new stuff in. But a lot of audio stuff because we had some issues with the interview's audio, so I had to do like these, audio tech nerdy type of stuff, like EQ it, make it louder, make it clearer.
Yeah. Just so our listeners know, Becca, who is our associate producer, went out and she did some interviews on the street, and she was able to get really good interviews. However, we didn't have a really strong mic. We didn't have the person speaking mic'd up. And I think the answer how to solve that is to hand the phone with the microphone to that person so they could have spoken directly into the phone. But, that was a lesson learned. So you're right. It did take a lot of creativity to play with that and try and balance out the sound and amplify some areas where it needed to be. It was a challenge on that one.
Yes.
But I like the message was good.
Yes. I like the future in the episode when they talk about the meat industry. And there's a lot of humans on Earth. So imagine like trying to, go to a lab and try to make a lot of meat.
It's not going to be turkeys anymore.
Yeah.
Only the wealthy will eat meat. It will end up being that everything is plant-based turkey. Whatever that's going to it'll taste like it. So that is super cool. The future of the industry and the jobs in 2030. So when I was looking up some of the research for that, what I found, and this was amazing to me, that's why I like video so much. The global film and video market is actually last year in 2020 was $234.9 billion. That's a lot of money that people are spending to produce video, and people are consuming it. So people, I don't know about you, but I don't think people read nearly as much as they should. They rely on video and also on podcasts or anything that's audio so they can just listen to it. And then that becomes what I hope it becomes is a place where people go and still question it and say, how much of this is real? Because I think people tend to just trust, it's on video and audio. So like it's on the internet and must be true. So I don't think that's a good thing to do. But what's amazing to me is that this industry is going to continue to grow. And so by 2030, it's estimated that it's going to be $410.6 billion. It's almost doubling. So I think you chose a really good career path, Nick, to be in video and to stay on top of it so that you can be, capturing, a healthy income because people are just hungry for it.
Mm-hmm.
That was interesting. The other fun fact that I found was by Jack Ma. He's the CEO of Alibaba Group. And he said, if we do not change the way we teach, we will be in trouble 30 years from now. The only way the upcoming generations can challenge machines is through a new method of teaching for optimization and competitive skills. It is predicted that robots could replace 800 million jobs by the year 2030. So education is our biggest challenge that we have. And I totally agree with that. I was thinking of all of the things that a robot could do in place of a human. So robots, let's talk about like what it is that you went to school for, right? Could a robot produce a video? Do you think? Do you see that? There's no right or wrong answer, honestly.
I feel like it has to be a human.
So why do you think it would have to be a human?
Well,
if robots can replicate, I'm sitting there going, I don't know. I think it's going to be, what was that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie where it's like the end of times and the robots are
Terminator.
Yeah. I'm thinking it's going to be like, I didn't ever watch that movie, but I think it's going to be like robots are going to be super, super smart at some point in time.
Mm-hmm. I feel like from maybe like a learning standpoint, as what I know from like video and film and stuff, is that telling a visual story has a lot of, I guess, like emotion to it, along with the creativity. Even though like AIs can be smart and stuff, but when you can't put together like a story that's very telling to a person or the audience,
it's hard to be able to give robots emotions, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we see movies with it, and at some point in time, maybe they can figure that out. I don't know if it'll be by 2030, and I mean humans, but I feel like there's going to be a lot of possibilities. Where I think that a robot could fit into in this industry is because they do that right now. They send robots to other planets, right? The moon, Mars, wherever. And they will send a robot out and it's there to take pictures. And there's this other video, Hubble. Is it Hubble? I'm not sure. There is this other space. I am not even.
I think I know what you're talking about. Because they had like
and it
recently new
travels
images
through the universe. It's not a rocket or anything like that.
Oh, it's like the telescope looking thing.
Yeah, telescope. Yeah. And so it's taking video the whole time. And so there's this place. Is it a human that's actually doing this? No, but a human had to program it so that these robots can go out there. And so I think that a lot of times people think robots are going to be like human looking when they're not. At the ITSEC conference, there was robots that looked like a dog and they were like, 4 legs and they're like walking around and they're following you and everything. It's a little bit creepy, to be honest, because I'm going, okay, well, do you want me to pet you? And so now I know there's a human over here, way over on the side, and he's making this robot do things. However, I do think it's possible where robots could be, taking pictures or taking the video, and then it's, being able to be processed even more quickly. Robots are not going to just look like humans, is the point of that.
Would you include robots as drones too? Because I know they do that in the military, like they take.
Yeah, those are. Yeah. So I feel like drones, the purpose of a drone is more of transportation and being able to move things around. However, when you put a camera on it, then it becomes, is that considered a robot? I'm not exactly sure. Is it just a way of doing surveillance? I'm not sure if even how I'm describing what robots could do is in that space of video, but I think it's possible. I think everything's possible for us to just figure out how could a robot take pictures. And it could be that it looks like a human type person and they're out there and they're shooting video in maybe like a war setting or something like that, just so that it can take that video and send it back, and another robotic device could process it so that humans could see something safely. There's all kinds of radioactive at Chernobyl, and then some of these other places in the world where the radioactivity is so high due to the nuclear fusion that, everything melted down. So they can only send robots in to go and look at this and see, is it safe? It's not like they can send a person in there or an animal because they aren't going to come back. It's not a safe environment. So I think that's really where we would see more of things that could be a robot being used to take video that's sent back to us. Yeah. Maybe that's not a robot. I'm not sure, but it seems to fall under it.
The back to the Hubble, I think is not a telescope. I think it's called like a satellite image. We have like thousands of those orbiting around our planet. That's from what I read. And it just images everywhere, images in the planets, other planets. Mm-hmm. So.
All right. When we come over here and we're looking at, well, we talked about robots, augmented reality, virtual reality. I feel like that's going to be more of how we see the intersection of what video will be. So making me feel through video that I'm actually in that place, like an augmented reality. That's one of the things that happens down at Orlando Game Space, where I work from. And there's a company called Brand XR, and it's a marketing company, and they can take different types of images and make it feel very immersive when you take your phone over it and it comes back as a video that you feel that you're right there in it. I think that's the way that most people should be going. And I guess I would say, Nick, I think that you should be looking at, aside from motion graphics, you might consider even where does video and augmented reality and virtual reality intersect? And that might end up being something that you go, oh, I want to go in that direction.
That's an interesting take.
Okay, well, just remember that later down the road. What is your best mentoring advice? Because I know we're at the end of the show here. What is the best mentoring advice that you want to pass on to our listeners?
Always continue to learn, because the more you learn, the more you grow as well. So
that's solid. You can't go wrong with it. And how would you like our listeners, don't give out your email address unless you really want to be hit with a lot of stuff. How can our listeners contact you? Do you have a website? Is there a particular social channel? I swear I could not find you on Instagram or anywhere. So I don't think you have social presence. Well, you do on LinkedIn now.
Yes, I have a LinkedIn. I do have a Twitter. I just made a new Twitter just because I'm at the end of my school, and it's always good to have a Twitter because I've been applying jobs, LinkedIn, video-related stuff, and they always want a Twitter. So I have a Twitter as well. I just made it, so you can give me a follow there too.
Okay, so what's your Twitter handle?
Nick Morales FX.
Okay, is there an underscore or anything there?
No, it's just one line. But I have to check that
because all together FX. Okay.
Yes.
And then you're on LinkedIn? It says yes. Nick Morales also. All right.
Yes.
We're going to get a headshot tomorrow, so it goes up on that page too, so people know who they're going to be connecting with. Well, that's really, really good. And do you have a portfolio or anything else that people can, a website or anything?
Yes. Right now, my website's currently under construction, but I have a Vimeo page. It's Nicholas Morales. I'll put that there as well.
Okay, cool. So we want to say thank you to our sponsor, Cat 5 Studios, and thank you to the production team, Becca Coffey, associate producer, video and audio editing, Steve Neese and Ayanna Sanders, and our video interns who are no longer interns. They actually get to graduate and be video editors, Nick Morales and Alex Teal. Music by Dave Francis, Sophie Lloyd, Charles Fleming, and Elijah Sutton. And our sound effects by Matt Miller, Miguel Sintra, and Dave Francis. Please visit employers4change at www.e4c.tech to learn how you can create real diversity and inclusion culture while scaling your people for the future of work.